this is way out of my comfort zone. I don't like hearing myself talk. And the thought of pre-prepared conversations and this kind of stuff is just not my zone.
It's performance, isn't it? And
it is.
Just everything always brings you back to, for me, always back to football. And you're driving into the stadium and it starts and all training all week's okay. There's no pressure on any of it. You're just rocking up. Then all of a sudden everything changes.
It does.
Now I'm overthinking it. I'm praying. Well, I didn't know about praying when I was playing. I was going the other way, trying to control everything.
Yeah.
But there's a change, there's a shift, isn't there, at that moment between what's so effortless.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. I mean, if you look at the last 24 hours, probably 2, 3 hours, 4 hours of conversation.
Well, this conversation went from here to here for me.
Yeah.
The second she said, okay, you're good, I'm like, oh no. And then I could feel it. It moved from there to all of a sudden I'm overthinking everything. It actually, in the past, something like this would have petrified me doing something different, but it actually excites me because of how it makes me feel. Because I know it's actually, there are major positives to gain from how I'm feeling right now and from overcoming the stresses and emotions. But just knowing that and knowing that's how I was wired and I've always been wired this way, it won't ever change for me. But being able to, through Drewe, being able to look at things completely through a completely different lens and see the benefits of doing it that way helps me with all my players.
Because it just started. Because it started there for me. It started there for me. You have only this week sitting here with, some really incredibly talented professional baseball players. Mm-hmm. You end up sitting around with them, and I just said, look, there's probably 5% of my career was I ever, at my 8 out of 10, that player. You come off the field, you go, that was me, that was me. Even if you lose the game or you know that was me. And then all of a sudden, you're sitting on the turf with these guys and some of them earning a lot of money. All agree. There wasn't one person in that circle went more than 8%. Then at the moment, you're like, shit, would I know that to be the truth? And then you break that down. What was that for me? The shift between not caring and being in here, free, into here. Mm-hmm. Attached, can't get out, don't know what it is. And now I'm trying to spend 17 years trying to get out. I didn't know how to get out. Just get back in. So it's all a lived journey. You lived it as a player. It's simple, but
having conversations with Drewe, it helped me figure out my identity and who I really was. And I'd put so many masks on up until that point in time with my team that they had to see it and they had to feel it. So they felt the stress. And your players really, when they get onto the field, if the coach is feeling a certain way, is tight, they often play that way. And I think, from my conversations with Drewe, he allowed me to be comfortable in my own skin. And so the big shift for me was just being comfortable in front of my players in those moments where being willing to accept that, hey, listen, I don't have the answers. and say, I have no clue, but let's try and figure it out together. It made me more relaxed and it gave me more validation that what I was saying was real. And I think it freed my players up. And so, more often than not, I think my guys go out onto the field and they play with more instinct and more creativity and more freedom just because I'm not that coach to choreograph things. It's not in me. It's not who I am. And I stopped trying to pretend it was.
Yeah.
I tried to be that guy who pretended I knew all the X's and O's. That's not me. It's not me. And so they see me today for who I really am. And I think it gives them more of a freedom to go onto the fields and be who they really are. And they're good, talented young men. And it's been beneficial. The benefits have been seen with our performances, for sure. And literally making things up. I would be talking my way through an answer to one of my players' questions, knowing that I actually really don't know the answer to what he's saying, but I'm going to do a great job here of convincing him that I do.
Give me an example of that. Can you remember one, John? There must have been lots of them.
There have been tons of them. Some of it will
try and pull one up.
Some of it will have been a tactical thing within the middle of a game that I didn't really see. Yeah. But I'm thinking, I can't make it seem like I don't know enough about the game that I didn't spot what he's talking about. So I'm saying, oh, yeah, in this moment, well, you should have done this. And I'm creating a scenario that might actually never have actually happened in the game. And just through the fear of looking like, I don't know. And then through meeting, I remember when I wanted to meet Drewe, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be, I couldn't put on all the masks. I couldn't try to be somebody that I wasn't. I'd spent a long time trying to run away from the point where I literally didn't know who I was anymore. And it was through meeting Drewe and doing the boot camp that I started to tap back into who I am and actually feel comfortable with all of my frailties, of which there are tons. And I think my players saw value in the fact that I was open as to the fact that I don't have all the answers. I was open to, here's what I am good at though, and here's what I'm not. And it's extended, it's going to extend my career. Because at the time I remember telling Drewe,
go on, I can't remember. I don't know what you're going to say now.
I remember I said, listen, I'm at the stage now where I might have to quit.
Oh, shit, you did.
Because I just didn't think I could do it anymore. It was exhausting me trying to go about it the way I was going about it. And then through...
Because you must have spent so many days sitting in the office, which working with many coaches now, is you shut that office door.
Oh.
Coaches, I've seen them, worked with at places where they're in there. Where's the gaffer? Well, he'll probably be in the office.
Yeah.
What's he doing in there? Probably nothing. Praying or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they look at you, I remember saying it in a place I was working. They just looked at me like I was an alien.
Well, the tough thing for us is that we were winning, but it wasn't real. And I couldn't extend it. I couldn't keep doing it. This I can keep doing. I could do it for as long as I'm given the chance to do it, But it just the freeing up of that on the inside was what over that was a 3-month boot camp, and it was probably the most eye-opening thing I'd ever done. It's actually quite scary, really.
Yeah.
Well,
faith then part, yeah. All of them
stuff you don't want to think about, right?
Yeah. It never ceases me that. It never ceases to, I guess, accept that, because I still run these things in groups, and now obviously it's been integrated in 2 degrees with the PFA. So you now, in the last 18 months, you've got 30 to 40 current and ex-players doing this degree, and it's been ridiculous. Like, very grateful for the teaching marks they all give back at the end of the year, and the marks have been incredibly for the segment that I've put into this degree, which doesn't surprise me because this level of content isn't anywhere.
Right.
And so I think they're just bored of learning traditional psychology. Or Marx and Hooper said this in 1978, right, and we can quote that out of the books. Like, what? Look, guys, you're going to be in that technical area. You're terrified. You're 2 games from the sack. How do you use any of these tools? Fear, control, vulnerability. What do any of them mean? Mm-hmm. My players, how do you use any of this stuff? And there's been some amazing moments beyond it must be over 20 times people have said, well, the ultimate truth is save my life.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, we're delivering recently, and there's a guy who's playing at a very, very high level in the UK, and he's I won't say too much more, but he's playing at a really high level, and they've not been winning. And we've just delivered a couple of these modules. He's gone through the questions, and he comes back in. They've gone on a run of 4 or 5 wins, and he actually brought to it. No, I just pulled all the boys in the huddle, said, "Oh, this is bullshit, guys. All the X's, all the O's, all the meetings. We've just got to understand where the boss is at. He's a little lost, so we have to leave him there. But we have to get together here, feel afraid, run." Mm-hmm. It's like, shit. Yeah. You're delivering this message, and it's now going into a really senior professional level. And really, you want to be able to reach out to the coach and go, man, like, can entertain this conversation, and you could drop your ego enough to allow me in. Yeah. And I'm not the arsehole. Right. Because that would be who's this arsehole telling my players, buddy, you got your players ignoring every message you're delivering them. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Right.
Do you like your money you earn? Do you like your career? Do you want to you want to have longevity? Do you want to win? It's really, it always overwhelms me, the power of.
Well, I think
this stuff.
At least 50% as to whether you're going to be successful or not. Certainly in this sport, I think in life in general is centered around emotion. And yet too much of what I was doing as a coach was centered around tactics, strength and conditioning. I'd send summer training packets out that were to do with fitness, strength and conditioning, some ball work. And yet the two major muscle groups that we really need to be elite high performers, the one up here and the one in here, and nothing in my summer training packet was related to the heart and the mind. And so, because if all you've got is there are tons of great footballers out there, but if that's all you are, and you don't have the emotion to back it up, then that skill set won't walk off the plane when you land in Salt Lake City to play that game.
We were down at IMG last week, and I'm not speaking out of turn because you could have screenshotted any S&C room centre at that place. It's an S&C centre, but any of the academies, it's a hell of a space now. The investment that's gone in is high tech, as any of the Premier League academies. But it's the same messaging on every wall. And as we were talking to the guy there, I just took the phone out and zoomed in. There was 2 messages. You leave this room, no one outworks us here at IMG. And the other message was all around the same. You lift more, you push when you're suffering. And I'm going, yeah, but everyone you play against is doing the same thing. Yeah. And now with the internet, you've got guys 4 leagues down from the Champions League, 6 leagues down, 8 leagues down from the Champions League, let's say, or the highest level, pretty much doing the same stuff as those top guys. There's only so many things you can do in the gym. So they're all doing now, they're all doing the same stuff, tactically and physically.
Yeah.
But when you start to look at the top guys, what was enlightening for me, having not played at that level, but then working with players at that level, and had many friends who played at that level during my playing career, when I started to go to Champions League games, I saw 2 things at Champions League games. I saw what would be deemed probably the worst warm-ups in the history of the game with the top players. I mean, half of them had their laces undone, and they're just keeping the ball up and mocking people and trying to pull each other's shorts down. And it's all the highest level of the game. And then in the tunnel, everyone's relaxed.
Yeah.
Cuddling their teammates. Hey, buddy, all the best today. We played together for Uruguay, with Argentina, whatever, Spain, England. No problem. Go on the pitch, animals. So you're going, what is this? Because I'm the opposite of that. I'm the best warmer-up in the world. I probably would have been, top 5 warmers up in the world. Career was bottom 5%, warm up to top 5%. Tunnel, I was just the most focused, angry man in the world. And you go, shit, it's the opposite of what all the top guys are doing. And yet when the whistle blows, you won't. It's the opposite. They're at it. They're full of courage. They're taking the ball and risk. And it's incredible.
It is.
And it's just fascinating me, that whole thing. And that's
we were lucky to have 3 of our players drafted in the MLS draft 2 weeks ago. And a lot of the MLS scouts called me up and said, hey, can you send us your data? And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, all the numbers. And I said, I don't have any. They're all saying, what do you mean? I said, yeah, don't do it. I said, first of all, when the numbers come out, I have no idea what they mean. And secondly, it's not how we operate. And I wasn't saying that with any kind of arrogance or anything. This is my truth. This is who I am. I have no frigging clue what these numbers suggest, and nor am I going to try to pretend that I do. I just know that the evidence is that on the field, my players run more than everybody else. And they do it consistently.
And with a wild intensity.
And it's non-stop. And so what I've noticed with my guys now is that it's not necessarily triggered by anything to do with me anymore. It's the older players, they show the younger guys what the level of expectation is in terms of how much you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. So I'm really having to mention much. I think
Where did that end up with those conversations with those scouts? How did that end up?
Some of them laughed and it was just, I think they found it interesting, the fact that we don't.
Did they ask more questions? Or did they just get out of the conversation?
They just left the conversation.
Yeah.
Because what I
my experience
value, you can't show it. I just know this, that when my two guys went to the MLS Combine, the scouts that reached out to me said that they outworked everybody at the event. They were second and third on all of the fitness tests, and we don't do fitness tests much at Cornell. And yet they were second and third. And in this whole idea of sprint repeatability, they were incessant. And
what do you put that down to, John?
I think it's something that the whole concept of sweat and courage, working hard, being brave, is within sprinting. I think sprinting is a dying art. I watch a lot of club games these days, and my biggest question when I come away, when I'm recruiting, is this guy can play, but is he willing to sprint? Can he sprint to confront? Can he sprint to back press? Can he sprint to run through on a ball?
So I would say everybody knows that. Like what you're saying there, having been around a lot of conversations, everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. Directs of football up in boxes, and I've just leant across and said, "What's your philosophy here?" Well, high intensity pressing, because everyone's trying to copy Man City, or high intensity pressing, and we like to retain the ball and possession. And I'm like, you're not doing either of that. Mm-hmm. And then you just stand back and stare at the game. You can feel, and it's like, because they're all looking for that,
right?
So how have you got? What's the how? How have you got them sprinting like this? And look, I probably know the answer because of the work, but how have you got them sprinting like this? And how have you got them? I know you've been asked for your offensive sessions. And if offense is creativity, which is courage, because the opposite of creativity is fear. So how have you got them playing with such intensity out of possession and such creativity in possession?
For me, it's been having them trust that, look, if this is where they want to go, which is professional, then I've got to do a job of clearing all the trees and showing them how to get there, and them trusting me that this level of work and this level of intensity is what's going to get you there. And
it's going to make you a star there.
Yes.
Which you've got, and without dropping names, I mean, if you look at before the three that are drafted, Emeka, who
he's with the US national team right now. And I remember in his second year with us, we were playing a high-profile team, and I think some of the guys in the room were a little bit worried because it was at this point in time, this was a number of years ago. We were just becoming who we are today, and the guys were concerned because the team we played is supposedly great, and Emeka immediately in the locker room said, "Yeah, but they've not played against anyone like us. They've not played anyone that's going to work as hard as we do." And sure enough, we beat them 3-2 in overtime. And it's when people like that who are your supposed, and he was a top player, but he set the example of doing the work. And when you see evidence of, all right, he then got drafted into the MLS, was their MVP last year in the US national team, and then other guys are going on to get drafted. I think it helps with the buy-in as far as guys
and having spent my life in the pro game as a player, and then with the nature of people I work with, what these guys are finding on you is actually the secret sauce for the highest level. Because all I'm spending time doing with the guys up there who've lost their way is undoing everything they've been told and taught. Back to that, and they'll all share the same thing. All of them have got the same story in different ways. That it just used to be really simple. I mean, I'd fight like a dog, and I didn't even think. I just go and be me. And now you get up, and it's having Lewis talk for hours. He was pro golf, and you lose your way there. Just this week with baseball, I know now I can sit with working with quarterbacks. You can sit with anybody, and it's exactly the same. So I sat with this baseball guy who's had a real breakthrough year last year into the National League, and people tipped to be something. And he was sharing the other day that he lost his way. Left high school, he was on fire.
Terrible first year.
Left
Freshman
college,
year.
and terrible first year, freshman year, horrendous.
Yeah.
Like horrendous. And then I said, well, how did you change it around? He said, I did it off season. I went up to Cape Cod, which we've now renamed Cape Cod. Based on his conversation, he said, I just sat with myself. He said, it stops here, it's enough. So I just suffered in my silence and just started to get a feel for the ball on bat again. And he's found it. And I said, and then you're coming from the aspect of a performance coach and you're kind of having a conversation with the agent. And I said to him, look, you've already got it. It's done.
No more.
It's done now. It's done. The check's there. What do you want? 500 million? Put it down. It's done. No one's going to touch this. But you've got it all physically. It's all there. You can see it. It's ridiculous what you can do. But I'm telling you what, it's not easy to hang on to that as you go up.
No.
Because everyone around you go from 3 staff to 25 staff. All of them want to chuck their 2 pence in to justify their role.
Right.
The physical guy is going to make you stronger, hit it further. Technical guy with it. Tactical guy, there's a couple of things there. Head coach might be a bit of fear and not dealt with that, so he's going to drop in something else. And then it all starts, the noise starts. It's so hard to hang on to the essence of what it is.
Mm. I think there are tons of people who can figure out X's and O's. They get behind a computer and they can figure things out. And this is the same, I think, in any walk of life. It's the same with teachers that I had, because there are a lot of teachers that I had growing up in school who knew the subject matter, but they were uninspiring. And I think it's the hardest thing to do as a human being. I think it's to inspire people that you're around, and that's why people largely fall on something that's on paper, like X's and O's or data. Because it's a lot easier to say, these are actual facts. If you go here, if you go there. But once players get onto the field, the most successful ones are the ones that they've been inspired to push their boundaries more than they ever thought they were capable of pushing them. And you can't get that level of inspiration through reading numbers on a board and looking at things. It's a human. It's a human interaction and a relationship.
So going back to if you take the 2 words separately and exchange sweat for intensity, and then take the 2 words and put them into soccer, and you say, okay, how do you be intense out of possession and getting the ball back? How do you what has this work done to translate into that intensity? How have you? Because everyone's looking for that. Yeah, and they run intensity sessions and they shout run more, and in the week, and then I see these coaches. They go in the room, that's a great week's training. The guys look at it, come to the game, it's the opposite. Yeah. So how have you, what do you think the secret is for you to get that intensity out of the players?
In games? Or
you'd probably argue in your place every day.
It is.
It is. So how have you done that? What do you think that is?
I think it's just been...
Beyond saying run more.
It's not saying run more. It's just that... I think now there's an element of trust with the players that, all right, they see the value.
Do you know where I've just gone to add to that? And that's a really good point, because it's not an easy answer to answer how do you get the intensity. So I'm listening to you drop the mask. So who am I under the mask? I feel everything extremely deeply, and that's what I realised when I took my mask off. I'm a very sensitive guy. I feel everything. Then you start looking at intensity means extreme depth of feeling in the Latin breakdown. So it's not about running. I want them to run more. It means extreme depth of feeling. So as you start to feel deeper, well, now there's no choice, because if we don't run, I'm fired. If we don't run, you have to ring your dad and say it's wasted, all the scholarship, Dad, I'm letting you do. So if we start going into that depth of truth, running's not a problem. And so that's the work. The mask comes off, the protection comes off. We go deeper, 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 feeling everything heightened.
Yeah.
Well, now.
I think for me, over my life, I mean, I'm from Wigan, which is a rough town, and I think I tried to escape the working class, the roughness of it, and by doing so, I became a fake and a poser, wearing a mask. And when I met you first, I said I wanted to figure out who I am and get back to who I am, and so. It's just the perfect marriage, because sweat and courage. That's growing up where I grew up, and it's
you scrap for everything every day.
Yes, you scrap for absolutely everything.
Just to pay the
That's what
bills.
my mum and dad did.
Scrap, yeah.
And it was just like, there you go, and it was just an incredible illumination of this is it, and it's who I am, and it gave me the confidence to be like, all right, no, it's all right being that poor lad from Wigan.
People often ask, what, and this is why I wrote the course 6 years ago. It was an academy director, he was a buddy of mine. He said, what ex-player, what are you doing that we're not doing? Why do players pay you? Why do they outsource stuff to you? How are you making a living? I said, well, I'm meeting them emotionally and meeting all their needs, and you're not doing that. And I don't blame you. You're a good guy. You don't know how to do any of that.
Yeah.
And there was a big thing in England recently. Why is it? It's nearly like 80 grand to get through every qualification to a pro license. And we've got so many pro license coaches, and yet we can't find an England manager. And if you look at the top league, there's Eddie Howe, Dyche is gone, Russell Martin's gone from the Premier League. So you're starting to go, well, where are the? And yet the funding's the highest. But if I look at that pro license, and I've mentored 30, 40 coaches at that level, Premier League, international managers, they are literally -5, -10 out of 10 in this knowledge and wisdom. Yet 10 out of 10 in what's taught on that license. It's
I do think we create an environment where you've got a space to work in, and the hope is at some point the penny drops regarding this. It doesn't. It took me to almost 50 years of age for the penny to drop with regards to sweat.
Was it the penny dropping, or was it? It's so hard to keep feeling.
Well, me, it was a culmination of so many different things. It was a concoction of everything. With some of these guys, it is actually the penny dropping because they're young guys. They're younger. They've come from environments where they've had a lot of things anyway. They've not had to experience it, and so I don't look for immediate changes. I don't expect immediate changes. I allow them to be who they are because they're allowing me to be who I am. And the hope is that at some point over the 4 years, the penny drops and it hits them.
But do you know what?
It has in so many.
Well,
instances.
it has. But you know what just hit me, and obviously having spent time with you and your players and different athletes all over the country now, especially the academic schools, they're really intelligent guys. Mm-hmm. And you're an intelligent guy. I'm an intelligent guy. That's why we suffer. You're an intelligent guy because intelligence is here. Mm-hmm. So all these guys have spent a lifetime going up to here for answers, feeding it. And then in any sport they might have picked up at 8, 9 years of age. Well, most of the sports now are drilling it in from 8, 9 years of age. So all they know is to be attached to here.
Right.
And you then link to, what's the biggest killer for men under 40? Suicide. Why? Stuck with my thoughts. So I mean, my wife and I watched the Avicii thing the other day on Netflix.
I saw that as well.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
And obviously, there's an incredibly creative human being. And my wife's like, it's often the case, isn't it? These great artists, they end up with drugs. And I said, stop. You're not listening. I'll rewind. He's like, rewind, listen. It's not about the drugs. He's giving you the answer. He said, I can't stop thinking. Mm-hmm. He said, I just don't want to be anywhere near this place. I need a rest. He said, I just need a rest. And so it's nothing to do with,
which is the same as all the athletes.
Same as all the athletes. Same as you, same as me. Mm-hmm. Why are you tired? Why was I fatigued in games?
Yeah.
I used to be the fittest guy at every club. I mean, managers used to shout at me, like go crazy at me. They honestly thought I was lying to them because I beat all the fitness tests. And the game I was blowing up on half time. I couldn't run.
Mm-hmm. That was me.
Yeah. It's really common. Said, look, this year, there's one really thing I'd like to work on. I said, please share. He said, I just want to be nicer to myself. I said, if you ever say that again, I'm never working with you again. And he was on the phone and he started laughing. He said, what are you on about? I said, what does that even mean? Well, can I just celebrate some of these small wins? I mean, we've won a $5 million contract. It's like, it's bullshit. Because the record one last year, we won a $30 million contract. We should be that. It should only be that. I said, I wouldn't be worried about it. Why would you celebrate a $5 million contract? He said, because it's still a win. I said, for some people, but it's not for you. You've got to accept who you are. Mm-hmm. I said, I don't know anything about that positive self-talk, but I'm not negative either. I'm just at peace. It's serenity I seek. Neither really. And is it a negative voice that goes, you're never there, you're never there? I don't think it's negative. I think it's the winner in you. Mm-hmm. Because at some point, you've dragged this company to whatever level. You're employing 300 staff. Let's just get really real. You're paying the bills and the lives of 300 people, and then the knock-on in their families. You're paying all of that. You've created that. If at some point of that journey you went, we've got to 2 million turnover. We've hit a lot. We dream. I'm on 300 grand a year. All's good here. So you didn't. You went, I need 5, and he did. So it can't stop because it's never stopped to date. We're 25 years in.
Yeah.
It's like, you're so right. It's hard sometimes. Of course, it's hard. Nothing worth having is not hard. It's brutal, but look at what we've worked on. Okay, get up early, get your feet on the ground, get some discipline going, get some running going, get some meditation going. We talked about the breath work. You've got a bunch of tools. You've got a toolkit of 5 or 6 things you can use to just mitigate what it is. But I'm not here to pull you out of the hole, and I don't like that. That's people who aren't living, who haven't got that capacity for that, telling you what it should look like.
I knew about this, and you said, because one of them is honesty.
Yes.
He said, well, what's the opposite of honesty? He said, well, deceitfulness or lying. He said, so you're telling me when we have had conversations about the contract at Cornell that you've not ever lied to me on the phone? And I said, that's a good point. That's a good point. There's times where I've bullshitted because I've known I can't. This was one of the more profound conversations that we ever had, and it's been incredible for me because I don't think you can reach everybody in your group if you're pretending that the other side doesn't exist. Yeah. You can't, because by just talking about these values that are all on the good side, you've automatically ostracized 35, 40%, if not more, in that room, because some of them are saying, "Oh, I'm lazy," or "I'm this," and there's. For me, it's admitting that, I'm lazy too.
So the opposite of sweat would be lazy, and the opposite of courage would be fearful.
Yeah.
So am I ever lazy and am I ever terrified? Most of the day.
Absolutely right. And when you were saying before you get to this point, you have, in order to get to this side,
the positive side.
We want to accept that all of this is within us. That was a statement that is written on my desk. It's all in me. And so I need to know that when I'm chatting with my guys, know that, hey, you can't just point out this. We're all capable of that, and we all do that. But let's try and do this a little bit more. But it's that little bit in between, how do you encourage and convince them to do that?
And I think about the amount of athletes I've sat with over what I've been doing in 2011, 14 years. And that's without the amount I've sat with in locker rooms. Take my role now as a coach, 14 years. The amount I've sat with scripture, sleeves of scripture, tattoos, crucifix on the neck, everything. And I've sat with these guys, and I was just observing all the tattoos before I started a conversation. I said, impressive tattoos. And they're like, oh, yeah. I said, what's that one? Romans 6. And I said, well, you've got no faith. And you just see them, there's a moment. I know I need to take them. I need to beat them up a little bit. Because look, the professional athletes are trying to find their way back to their performance level. You got no faith. Why am I here? Well, to help me have more belief, self-belief, confidence, faith. You've got an armful of faith. Oh, I've got it on the back as well. What have you got on your back? T-shirt comes up the full. Everything's on there. Resurrection, crucifixion, it's all. I said, isn't it fascinating? You've got all these images and you've got no faith. And they're like, shit, what? I said, look, to get to the light, and if the image that you've got there, the light, to get to the light, you have to go into the dark. You don't just switch the light on. You go into a dark room, there's a reason there's a light switch. Otherwise, you stay in the dark. I said, you just want everything to be light. It doesn't work like that. Look at your performance level. It's not all light. It's crap. So we need to go into the crap. It's crap.
Well, plus high performance straddles that.
It does.
It's not just on the good side, and if it is on the good side, you probably don't win. I mean, no one's going to convince me that Argentina, they won the World Cup. No one's going to convince me that all those players were on the good side. They would have straddled it, and a number of them would have been half on the other side, and that's where high performance is. Of the game.
If we can all sit around and go, hey, that's terrifying.
With the dark,
it's a terrifying thing, though. It's terrifying to try and navigate that line.
Yeah, because it's
terrifying.
You can't go like, I think you said to me, listen, if you're all the way over here, if this is the line, and that's good and that's evil, if you're all the way over here, it'll be disastrous. You'll lose.
Yeah.
If you're all the way over here, it'll be disastrous. If you lose, you have to straddle that line. You have to
and this side of the line, you could be an arsehole. And this side of the line, what a great guy. And do you know my memory of growing up? Do you know my memory of growing up? And shit, every girlfriend I had dumped me. But I was always, he's such a nice guy. And it just confused me. I'm thinking, well, they don't want that. I was growing up thinking all the girls, they don't seem to want this. But then you're confused going, but I'm morally really well brought up by a strong mother. I'm not going to sell out on my morals. And I'm not going to sell out on the fact that I speak well and that's important and I want to have... So what's going on here? And I didn't realise it was just be authentic.
Yeah.
Because if you're yourself, there's a boundary there. So if the girl doesn't text me back then when I'm 16, cool, I'll block you and do that again. I didn't. I'd be chasing them, texting them.
Yeah.
And then I'd take that into being a player. I'm kind of needy and weak. And
it's not just a given where it's like, hey, I'm there, I'm good. And it was, that was a lesson for me because it was, no, this is something, John, you're going to have to continually pay attention to. And it has to mean something. And you have to live these values.
You have to live the values.
Intensity. Sweat is intensity. I need to keep, feeling everything really deeply. I can't come out my feelings.
No.
Can't numb them. Got to keep stepping into confronting myself, which means then confronting others. Got the courage to stay authentic.
Yeah.
And it's why I get a lot of pushback, but I put it online. Coach to a loser. That's why, and I've tagged them. Why are you losing? Winning's easy. You should see the stuff that comes back. How dare you? I said, no. It's just try being fully authentic, feeling everything, and confronting everything for 24 hours.
Well,
don't worry about winning.
Exhausting. I mean,
24 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a really sensitive person.
Yeah, me too.
And so,
me too. And me.
Being sensitive and competitive is a brutal combination.
It is.
It is. And I came off it in that 1 year. I because it's a lot easier to not feel things.
Oh, yeah.
And then the results followed. It's not like we had a bad season, but it certainly wasn't. And it wasn't like, and I was trying to find immediate solutions. Was it, should I put him here, put him there? And I knew it wasn't that. And then it just hit me. It was like, all right, actually, it didn't just hit me. But I ended up speaking with Drewe outside of Gimme Coffee, and it was the realization of the fact that I had come off it just through. Drewe was asking conversations about how things had gone and this, that, and the other, and it became through that conversation, it became quite clear what had transpired, and because of that, the players weren't. Their happiness had gone, had disappeared, and so their level of connectivity and support for each other had gone, and because I'd dropped off, they did too. So it was on me, which was tough to. It was tough to realize, but at the end, I was also like, all right, fair enough.
This is what it is.
Yeah, it's all right. There you go. At least you know.
And then you look at vulnerability as the greatest risk, which is why it's the greatest courage. You risk everything in that moment: judgment, mocking, shaming. The amount of people you end up, and now, having a business and having 10, 15 people growing out and working under this name, don't work for me, work together. You certainly see as this starts to grow out and experienced business people join. And I don't know it as that. I've just lived it and tried to build all this over the last decade or so. And they've just gone, how do you do any of this? I mean, the risk that you live in constantly in all areas of your life. I'm like, yeah, I don't. And so you start to see people who in business and they go, what's the secret sauce? And the really top business people that I've sat with, it's just absolute risk, just constant risk. And that's the guy who's turning over 2 million, worked on ones who turn over 15, and you get to the guys who work at 50 million, 100 million, and they all it's just another zero.
Right.
Elon Musk is more zeros. But if you looked at Musk's risk, it's off the scale. And his wife was asked about that. Well, what's the difference? And she goes, well, everyone will say, what's a billionaire? And everyone will say, oh, they work all hours, God sends. She goes, of course they do. That's a given. They're all doing that. But back to they're all doing lifting weights. They're all running. She goes, no. He would swim across a sea full of crocodiles and sharks and just keep doing lengths. Mm-hmm. So it's like, shit, that's the bit that no one talks about. It's risk.
You never escape this.
No. I'm having them every day now.
Yeah.
I didn't confront that thing.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm gonna have to pick the phone up here, or probably most of the time it's my wife.
It's a constant.
It is.
But I think this is, it's made me more content, given me more peace on the inside.
Which is the opposite of mental health issues, let's say.
Yeah.
Which is the story. Avicii was in chaos. Yes. I was in chaos when I went into rehab.
Yeah.
I think there's a wrong stigma around mental health. It's become this word that we can't talk about it. And then the very person that's saying that, you sit with them, you go, actually, I can't get out of my head. And, this is, and you're teaching this?
Right.
What message are you passing back here? What are we doing here? You know, it's like being, getting advice on alcohol from an alcoholic. What you need to do is, and just have 2 drinks, and what do you do? I'd couple in there and half a glass of wine, and so it does. But I try and lighten the whole mental health movement up and just say, can we just normalise all this? Can you get 20 people in a room and say, are you attached to your thinking? Can you get out of your head sometimes? Are you procrastinating? You overthink? You full of fit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's 20 out of 20.
Right. For sure.
It's like become this, whoa, who's used that word? I'm like, so we're all in there.
Right.
Yes. when you allow the winner in you, which was part of the work, you reintegrate the winner.
Yeah.
Well, hell's coming with it.
It is.
And now you're entering an energy which will get you winning in all areas, as a husband, as a father, on the field. But it becomes scary now, because that energy it's a powerful energy.
It is a powerful. As far as mental health goes, it's
an avoidance.
You double down on sweat and courage, and
yeah, I try.
You run towards where the pain is, and to overcome it. The way Division 1 men's soccer is going these days, it's fairly transactional, and a lot of these schools will face the average age of their starting lineup is 23, 24. Our average age of our starting line is probably 19. But because of how they are emotionally, they go out onto the field like a group of 24, 25-year-olds. It's the best way to play with the maturity of a real adult, is to have it in here. And they do. So I never worry about the fact that, like, this year we started, 6 of our starters were freshmen and sophomore. It means nothing to me, because they have, when you have that and when you have emotion, it's almost like it puts 4 years on your team. And when they walk out there, they're like a group of men. And because it's like they've gone through this emotional process of...
Yeah, because what's a man? They're like men. Well, you're the man in your house, so I try and be it in mine. Well, what am I demonstrating to my kids? I feel everything. Mm-hmm. You'll see me crying at Moana pretty much every night. And the girls have got that on. We do whatever you want here. Sit with my son, terrified. Mm-hmm. How you feel when you go away from home, Daddy? Do you like traveling? I said, no. Sometimes I sat in hotel rooms and cried, so I miss my kids, I miss my family, it's hard. But then he'll wake up and then he's seeing me out the window at 6 a.m. on a punch bag, coming out of an ice bath. It's like, well, what are we doing here? We're doing both.
Yeah.
We're feeling it all here, but I can't come off the work.
And that's the thing. I mean, these guys...
And that's for me what a man would be. I never had that demonstrated to me growing up, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
You work hard, you give all of yourself, but you feel.
If the concentration on the emotional strength adds years on, where a lot of people will spend a lot of time concentrating on physical strength, and I get that. I see the advantages of it.
Me too.
I just think that there's greater advantages when you work on someone's emotional capacity.
And it's funny because none of us have used the word mental strength, because often there's all these words. We got introduced the other day to a load of baseball guys. It was funny, having been around the highest level of the pro game and watching myself as a pro, certainly when I became a seasoned one. Here we go, got some other guy coming in today talking about some shit. So I used to sit there as a player going, fuck, I just want to get home.
Yeah.
And 99 times out of 100, I never got one thing from anybody in 17 years. And then I rang my mates, my best man at my first wedding, played 50 times for England and was part of the Arsenal Invincible squad. No, I didn't get anything from anybody. And I started coaching the next generation. No, they come in here, they don't get anything from anybody. These group of baseball guys, there's some senior ones in there, and you did a little Google, and they're big boys and a lot of money. And you can see them straight away. The guys, there's a couple of mental skills guys, they just fucked off to the back. And I'm crying with laughter.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So the guys were there. I said, yeah, I'm not one for that, guys. I don't do any of that shit without mental skills. None of that. I don't even know what it means. So can anyone label a mental skill? They said resilience. I said, well, that's not a mental skill. Resilience is I feel terrified. I want to go under and give up. But I need to find something deep inside myself. I don't think I'm going to my brain and going, right, let's pull the mental skill out. It's soul work, right? So and then you start to get some, but it is just this whole language around all of it. I don't do anything mental. I don't want to understand my brain. I'm not a brain surgeon. I don't need to know whether thoughts come in the left side or the right side or cognitive. I don't need to know. All I know is this is not a good place for me to be. This is a really great place for me to be.
It's a revolving door, and you know, student athletes are in and out of those places. Sometimes within a semester. It's becoming less relational, and
well, that's the pro game.
Yeah,
where money gets involved. I've only lived in the pro game. It's transactional. Like, I don't give a shit. I've been many times to play. I'm not interested in my coach or my club. Who's paying me more money? What are you doing? You're not playing me. I'm off. You're my agent.
Bless you.
So that becomes the pro. But you still speak to the pros who they're all craving. If the environment was right, I wouldn't leave. I've had that chat with guys.
That's the beauty of the Ivy League, though. I mean, no one's going to leave these schools.
No, sure.
So you've got them for 4 years, unless they get drafted and leave, which some of them do. But it's less transactional in the Ivy League. I'm forever trying to. I don't think I'll ever be able to just stop and rest and relax. I think it's you're constantly having to pay attention to what's going on inside of you, to your feelings. This will be a continual thing for me, you know,
too.
Because you can't come off it.
No, me too.
It's trying to find people who think similarly, of which there aren't too many. And so, you know, I'd get on phone calls with Drewe during the week, and for me, it wasn't as obvious to me what I was thinking and the reasons why I was thinking them. But then they became clearer through conversations, and all of a sudden it'd be like, the thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's 2 words.
Yeah.
It's like, holy cow, that's it. That is it. And because what you're looking for is inspiration. I need to try to find the energy to inspire. And so I would be on a conversation with Drewe, and he'd say 2 words, and I'm like, boom, that's it. But that gives me that, because that talk I do, the
energy
has to be real. And it cannot be all of this fake. It can't just be about X's and O's. It has to be about what is your reason? What is your reason tomorrow for showing up? What's your reason tomorrow for putting it? Because the ask for these kids on the field is friggin' enormous in terms of the level of work. So it can't just be, guys, same as I said last week. Just
need to do it
same.
again a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, all right, what's
Just
the
repeat
feeling
that.
this week? What did I see? What did I feel from the team? What did I feel from each player? So what's needed? So I get on phone calls with Drewe. I'd be like, well, this is what we had this game last week. We were supposed to win. We did, but only just. This next game is a team that's really good, and they think this, we think that. This is what's going on. And we'd have a conversation. He'd say 3 words, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, that's it. That's the hook.
But do you know why I could say those 3 words, whatever they were? I got no idea what to say, but because I'm constantly trying to stay in this energy myself, because it's all I've got to give. So I need to stay as connected as possible. Otherwise, there's no value. And if you look at the word inspire, I just looked at that from Latin inspire, to breathe or blow into, which itself is from the word spirar, meaning to breathe. So what you're looking to do is to breathe. You don't need inspiration. And this is where the breaking down of words has become beyond profound for us, because the danger is someone listens, goes, oh, so you're giving me inspiration. No, I'm trying to stay in line with my breath, which the breath is the only truth. So it's just truth. So you're looking to breathe.
Yeah.
Which is you're looking to be centered.
Yeah.
Your head's everywhere, and you're coming on the phone. Can I help you find your center? By me being centered.
Yeah.
And it's really, the longer I've done this, it becomes a really easy conversation. Now this week on the phone to guys and new people who want to work, and I said, I can't add anything to you. I've got nothing to give you.
Well,
I believe there's a lot of gold inside you. And
it's find your center, but it's also, when you're in the thick of it, you helped me find the center for that particular situation.
Yes. Because your feelings, whatever feelings we change, games, opposition,
so
pressure.
Sometimes it's just wasn't that clear to me.
No.
Because I'm in the thick of it. I've convinced myself of something and done a good job of convincing myself. And then I'd be on a phone call with you and I'm like, I was wrong. It's just like, going through therapy with my son and the whole concept of writing letters once a week. And what I realized in that was I would receive letters from him. My immediate response I thought was spot on in how I wanted to write the letter back.
Yes.
By next week when I could send a letter, I'd sat in with my emotions. I'd thought about things, thought about what he'd written, thought about what his truth was, thought about what I was feeling. My response was completely different. So the process from Saturday to Saturday was I'd feel an emotion after the game, know what's coming up in the next game. I'd then have all these feelings. I've got to do this, got to do that, got to make sure this is right, got to make sure that. Then I'd get on a phone call. And some of it you'd validate and say, yeah, that's fair enough. But you'd then just say, yeah, but don't you think that's it? And then I'd just sit back and I'd be like, and then it would be.
To drive away, propel, punch, or reject. Motivate them. So you want to propel them, punch them, reject them. What are we driving away? Fear.
Yeah.
Words aggressive, eject, banish, punch, propel, and drive away.
Yeah.
That's what motivates me.
I always thought that motivation was come on through the conversations and tapping into vulnerability, etc., and realizing the great power in that. I now realize the multiple vessels that you can motivate different ways, and it's the conversations with Drewe were to figure out, all right, well, which vessel do
I go straight away. So many conversations, and you go, okay, this week these guys are 24, 25, and they're really seniors, and they're aggressive, and they play Route 1, and so, right, come on, we got to win the battle. No, they're aggressive, they're big.
Yeah,
we probably can't deal with that. It's terrifying. But hey, we got some really good players. And
when you look as a coach, quite often there's significant moments within your program, and a lot of the times it's a significant win in a game. That was a significant moment because what it told me, and up until that point, I had no clue really. We were winning games, but I had no clue that the really talented players in the team believed it. And then he said that totally unprovoked. I hadn't prepared him to say, hey, do us a favor.
Make sure you go and say that, yeah.
Say
Control,
this.
do that,
and
motivate.
It was like one of those moments where I was like, wow.
So, and I know it's difficult. Look, it's been around players for years, and 3 more gone to the MLS. But if you look at Emeka's journey, and I know Emeka's a really talented, hard-working, creative human being. Mm-hmm. So it's impossible to say where someone gets anyway, despite of anything. But that environment created through the words and through you being those words anyway, there's no way that is directly linked to me for him going straight to that level, which I've lived my whole life at, and remaining in those 2 words, which is what he's done. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched him play, but I look at his journey and how quickly he's gone through it to the level he is, and I know that journey intimately because I work in it every day. He's remained in that. And it's hard to say he wouldn't have been there anyway, and it's not about any ego, but I think there's a direct correlation between the environment that you created, him believing those 2 words are everything, and the seamless transition to that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really strong thing.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And I've watched his performances.
Oh, yeah? I've not watched.
And they embody that.
Do they? Wow. Because that's all it is. You look at Man United now with Amorim, and the last 3 games have been a real turnaround, night and day. Mm-hmm. It started with they were just getting beaten up by people, and all the words now are fight. Him after games, fight, suffer. Players fight, suffer. Not tactics, fight, suffer. These aren't words that are being used. It's all it'll ever be. You sprinkle some, and around that you got a load of creative players. If you free them up, they'll figure it out the other end. But it's hard to keep fighting and keep sweating and keep driving and keep feeling. It's really hard. But it's all it is. Man United, the highest level of the game. And the only turnaround's been, without all the technology and everything they've got there, it's all been dismissed. There's none of that. We just need to fight. Yeah. It's
I
just,
think, you know,
that's mind blowing, isn't it? Really, if you think about it.
growing up in England in the 70s and 80s, I think what has happened over the last 20 odd years is that there was a kind of like a fancifying of the game. And within that was a movement away from those values of the hard work, and because they were trying to not play as long ball and it to be, they associated the work and the physicality with ugliness.
Yes.
And I think that should have still come along while trying to make the game more attractive.
But it's like I always like anything. It's like the scale you said earlier. But, you know, right of the line is, you know, super aggressive, and left of the line is, you know, we're all hippies kumbaya. Let's say it's extremity. But it's the same in the industry. We believe the industry 1780s was so extreme this way, thuggery and long ball and right. But it's just gone down here, and now it's just, I don't know what it is down here. It's nonsense.
From the very get-go with these players, when I'll typically do like 60-minute Zooms with the players and the mums and dads.
Of course.
And it's most of the conversation centers around humanity. And then it goes into a little bit about the football, but most of it is about the human side of it. If you don't have that side of it, then that stuff doesn't reveal itself. And so, we were 196th in the country when I arrived, and there's only 210 teams. Been in the top 25 for most of the last.
But here's the thing I would say on that. I only came into your life 3.5 years ago. You've been there 8 years?
9 years, but 8 seasons.
Okay. So you'd already transformed a lot of the program in 5 years. So I'm not going to sit here and say the people reach out to me a lot of them are already at a level of success. And all I hear, if I need to get it actually on my office wall, just that last little bit. That's what I'd say. We're turning over. I just know it's that last little bit in the business.
Yeah,
playing well. It's just that last little bit. Coach is like, I'm really good. Just that last little bit. Honestly, I just laugh now. It's like, so I think important to say, there's people who are already at a level of success.
Yeah.
And I'm a performance coach, and the whole thing is built on performance. You're trying to get that last little bit, because that's all I tried to do as a player. I was already good. I was already there.
Yeah.
I could never unlock that last bit.